Disclaimer, the following first portion of the video was recorded all the way back in April and was meant to be released back then. However, I got really sick and couldn't do anything, even walks, so I had to delay it all the way until June with this Port Adelaide review. Anyways, thank you for your understanding and hope you enjoy the video. Peace!
Hey, it's Bambin. And I just want to say, sorry for the hiatus, it will happen again. Don't blame me, blame life. But yeah, I'm happy to be back for a bit, and be taking a look at the Brisbane Lions start to the 2025 campaign. Now, given that we are the reigning premiers, I'm already extremely grateful for the success that this team has blessed me with. And when considering the woeful results that recent reigning premiers have had to seasons, with the last one not even winning a single final, I just hope that we win one final. And if we don't, at least I'll always have that last Saturday in September to cherish for the rest of my life. So, with that said and done, I think it's time to go and check up on how the Brisbane Lions are doing right now. Holy crap, son! Screw what I said earlier, we're going back to back. 10-game winning streak, top of the ladder, I'm calling it now. We may never lose again, and you know what happens when I call it? I become Banstradamus. Anyways, getting my excitement out of the system, I'm pretty damn happy about how we kicked off the 2025 season, and the fact that we haven't even played our best football is nothing but a good thing. And the best way to reflect on this start is to analyse Brisbane's start to the 2025 AFL season and talk about how we have already stamped ourselves as potential challengers for the flag. As well as Carlton being shit. I mean, that's what you get for beating us in opening round last year and Patrick Cripps stealing Neil's 2022 Brown. So our season kicks off in a rematch of a prelim that I consider to be the real grand final, with the Lions taking on the Cats at the Gabba on a pristine Thursday night.
The opening of the AFL season is in disarray, with 2 games cancelled as a tropical cyclone bears down on Brisbane.
Oh yeah, that's right. Due to the threat of former tropical cyclone Alfred wreaking havoc across southeast Queensland, the AFL had to reschedule the Lions-Cats game to round 3, where the teams originally had a bye. So, our season opener was instead against the Sydney Swans at the SCG on a Saturday twilight time slot. And after days of scrambling to rearrange training times and deal with the destruction of Mother Nature, the stage was set to begin our 2025 campaign against a team that we tore apart on that last Saturday in September. So after several minutes of neither team landing any real blows, Braden Campbell collects a smothered Andrews kick inside their forward 50 and manages to strike the first blow of the game off a really good snap. Then after the set of bounce, Hugh manages to get a kick away towards their half, and it turns into a foot race between Kai and Matt Roberts. Kai then gets the ball, gets tackled by Roberts, and oh no. So, because Kai got his ankle injured in a tackle, he got subbed off for the remainder of the game, making us already one man down. Did I forget to mention that the Swans kicked another goal off the back of us giving away a 50? Then the Swans managed to continue to pile on the early pain, with Corey Warner and Jake Lloyd kicking goals off the back of ill discipline and sloppy play. However, the Lions managed to salvage a goal late in the quarter back off a good goal line mark from Darcy Fort, helping cutting the quarter time margin to just 15 points. And when popping back in to check the quarter time margin, I was a bit concerned given our usual hot starts in the games from last year. And I was starting to think that maybe we are also beginning to fall victim to the old premiership hangover. The second quarter, however, was an improvement. A slight improvement, with our midfield starting to wake up and small forwards like Zach Bailey managing to kickstart our forward line engine room. However, the margin was still 13 points at half time, and we were still making silly mistakes with ill discipline and poor skills. Going into the break, I was hoping that the Lions could finally switch on and begin playing classic Lions footy. And, to put it simply, I was not disappointed. The Lions managed to get off to a flyer, with Bailey kicking a dribbler to start things off in the second half, Oscar marking a great McKenna kick and converting, and Hippie converting a banana from the boundary to give Brisbane the lead for the first time since the opening point of the game. And while Hanili interrupts the Lions' little run of goals, the Lions' sanity continues, with Zorks kicking an absolute belter from beyond 50, a quick Bailey snap right after the set and bounce, and Logan Morris kicking a crafty goal from taking advantage of a free kick, bringing our lead to a game-high 16 points. And because of our sharpening up and converting in front of goal, the Lions were leading the game by 10 points at three-quarter time after a late heating goal. While I was still nervous of the prospect of us horrifically choking the game from this point, I was mostly confident that we were able to get the job done. Until the footy god decided to choose violence and give Starcevic another freaking concussion right after he recovered from one in the preseason. The last quarter then turned into a shootout, with each team exchanging one goal per turn. However, the Swans were threatening to rob the Lions of the game within the final 2 minutes, when in the last minute, Brandon Campbell tried to go for the Hail Mary of all goals, only to be a rush behind by Jaron Berry. And with that, the Lions managed to bitch up the Sydney Swans for the third time since 2024 and finally win a season opener, giving us a much needed pump up before our flag unfurling in round 2 against the Eagles. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I was not actually watching this game for the majority of the time as I was doing a lot of studying, so I was just planning on checking the score from here to there. Anyways, going into the game, I was expecting a comfortable Brisbane Lions win and had no stress about it. Until...
as the siren will sound and it'll beat the Lions for half-time, and what a half of footy we have witnessed.
When I first saw this, I was, well, confused. If this was at Optus, then it would make a bit more sense. But at the fucking Gabba? The Gabba? There's no way that we are losing to West Coast. It turns out, there was no way that we lost to West Coast, as footy games last more than 2 quarters. And thanks to the work of our senior players, with Lockie Neal tearing the Wiggles a new one with 35 disposals, we managed to run out 19-point winners in our flag unfurling game to prevent what could have been the biggest embarrassment of that round and the season so far, even more than that goddamn Richmond Carlton game. Here's a little fun fact for you. Since 2005, the Brisbane Lions have never beaten Geelong twice in a row, and given that Geelong would be fired up after a loss to St Kilda, and the Lions have just barely beaten West Coast, I was being a bit iffy going into this game, and my worst fears were beginning to come to light, with you nearly gave me trauma in the prelim Henry, and I confused you with Sam DeConing Dempsey, kicking the first goals of the game. But luckily, Charlie Cameron's great snap and Randy's dead-eye set shot kept the Cats at bay, tying the scores early on, and at that moment, I was relieved that the Lions were going to be competitive throughout.
5 in a row for the Cats.
Done it.
That's exactly what he's done. Big problems for the Lions.
Yeah, okay, I don't think we're winning here. I mean, Geelong were tearing us a new one in the midfield, they were handling the wet weather conditions far better than us, again, and they were just putting on a classic display of classic Cats footy. But luckily, Brisbane weren't done yet. At the end of the quarter, Will Ashcroft caught a Cats player for holding the ball inside of our attacking 50 and managed to convert a set shot, giving the Lions a pulse. And then boom! Linsanity ensued! Or should I say, Lions-sanity. Of a Harris Andrews handball, Levi piles on another goal for the Lions by kicking it off one bloody step. Then after a bit of joggling around, Eric snaps it through to trim down our deficit even further. Then Bruce, after his first possession, hits up Logan Morris, who manages to squeeze it through to make it a 1-goal game. Then Brucey boy gets the crowd rocking by kicking an absolute belter and finally puts the Lions in front for the first time in the game. We cannot be stopped. And yeah, Danger did break the goal run in the 4th quarter, but Brisbane instantly shattered any chances of Geelong winning the game by kicking the last 3 goals of the game thanks to the work of Bailey, Zorko and Berry, and running out 9-point victors against the Cats. This win had not just made Brisbane go 3-0, not just make us beat the Cats twice in a row for the first time since 2005, but makes us the undisputed kings of the comp, and already ingrains our name to onto the cup. Let's go, baby! Another fun fact for you, Brisbane has not managed to beat Richmond at the MCG since 2009, and given what the Tigers have shown against Carlton this season, this was a possible danger game for Brisbane, and could possibly give the Lions a mighty scare. We won by 28. Nothing special, apart from this Will Ashcroft goal.
Ashcroft has a good look. Oh no! That is incredible!
Thank you, Marcus Ashcroft sperm. Okay, I know I've previously yammered on about fun facts with Bandy Bang before, but Brisbane's best start to a season is only 4-0, with those starts coming from the 2002 and 2010 games. Just ignore the latter part. But now, we take on the Doggies at Norwood. Traditionally, the Dogs have always had a knack for dacking Brisbane when they least expect it. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's especially important that we don't drop our guards thinking that we'll just pummel the Bulldogs with their injury list. They played better than expected, and I could sense the Dogs catching a snapping in this game. So anyways, it begins as a shootout, with the Lions and Dogs exchanging exact scores early on, but Brisbane will finally break away from this trend, with Darcy Wilmot putting us in front by 5 points, allowing us to actually win the first quarter this time, unlike other games, giving us good signs early on.
Above the tackle. Extraordinary quarter of football.
Oh, Brisbane, why do we always do this? This is now 4 out of 5 first halves that we have lost this season, and really, I was just bamboozled. And then after the break, they attempt to edge me, with Zach Bailey kicking the first goal of the second half, only for the Dogs to put it out to a game-high 39-point lead. Really, I don't think we're coming back here. Hipwood is playing like a certified gimpy Cats forward, Sam Darcy is carrying the new one, and Charlie keeps shanking absolute sitters. I'm sorry, I just don't see a comeback from us this time. Like, no. Don't tell me.
Play doesn't work out in the end. Still they come, the Lions. Could still work out. Bailey from a tight angle. That Ashcroft from a tight angle to a dangerous area. Eric! Got it. Here's Eric. He's starting to really roll now in front of Rory Lobb. Goes deep forward. Rayner!
That is an exceptional contested mark.
Plays on. 5 in a row for Brisbane. Goes inside 50. Hipwood.
Oh, how good is that?
Plays on. Eric's starting to really roll in Norwood. Dangerous hand pass to Rayner. Morris for 4. Brisbane have taken the lead in Norwood. Centering, piercing footy. Play on handball. In the blink of an eye. Rayner nails it. Wonderful angle from behind. Archie. A touch up. Eric for another goal. Hipwood streams in. What about the celebration now? Look at Eric runs away. Remarkable from Hipwood. He's kicked 5 and a half. And Brisbane are going to get home in one, if not the 39 points down. Brisbane do a job on the dog.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I take back everything I have said against Hipwood. Give him a fucking 20 years contract. He's an ex-buddy. I am very sorry. We are never losing.
We'll hear more about that shortly, Mitch. Collingwood win by 52 points.
Yeah, okay, I gotta stop being so cocky. I'll just summarize the game real quick. Brisbane in the first half were kicking like university, missing shots like there was no tomorrow, while Nick Dacos and the Magpies were just tearing us a new one, being sharpshooters right in front of the big sticks. However, Brisbane were only down by 19 points at half time, which was a smaller deficit than the Bulldogs and Geelong games, giving us a small little sniff. But the Pies really proved why they're premiership contenders in the second half, creating a black and white wall that not even prime Michael Voss could get past, and piling on points through the likes of Jamie Elliott and De Goey. In the end, the Pies ran out 52-point winners, toppling Brisbane as the ladder leaders and breaking their unbeaten run to the season. To put this game simply, it was a stinker. And yeah, look, I know some of you are going to bring up the umpiring, but look, we still would have lost anyway. Collingwood were just a far better team. They bullied us in stoppages, heavily limited our inside 50s, and really, we just let Nick Dacos father us, even with the Barry tag in the second half. However, even though we had a massive stinker, my overall response to the game was just, she'll be right. I mean, we've just come off our longest winning streak under Chris Fagan, started 5-0, and within our last 23 games, we are 19-4. Really, a loss is bound to happen at some point, and sometimes you just suck. I mean, Fagan just put it simply by just saying,
look at this group. They've won 19 of their last 21 games. You're going to have a bad day at some point in time. We haven't had one for a long time. We had a shocker tonight.
And so the main learning I want Fagan to take from this game is to just throw this game in the bin and just move on.
Hey everyone, this is me, Bandman, after my 2-month nap. Anyways, let's go check the results from round 6 to 16. Draw against North! Damn, they must be having a gun year. Lost to the T, smacked the Hawks, beat Essington, lost to the Crows and Giants, and beat Geelong at Goomba Stadium? What can I say? We're going back to back. Easy peasy. Anyways, Port Adelaide! Looking at their ladder position, it's safe to say that their succession plan is not going according to plan. And yet, they smacked Carlton before, but Voss's plan to make Carlton great again was, and still is, going as well as when he coached Brisbane. Had one really good final series, and then pisses off to the depths of the bottom 6. One thing I would be worried about going into this game is how poor we've played at the Gabba. In fact, we played better at the MCG than the Gabba. Like, you know, the same venue that we previously couldn't win at to save our lives before 2024. So hopefully in this game, we can re-establish the aura of the Gabatoir. So the game begins with the Gabba pumped and ready for the Lions to continue their journey towards back-to-back flag.
Dangerous. Rioli outside of the right boot. That's good enough for the first of the game. And Willie starts the...
Oh my god, again? A fucking again? Not even 6 minutes into the match, and Port are already making us look like Justin Lepage era Lions, making us 13 points down already. Like, Charlie Cameron luckily manages to kick the Lions' first goal in the game, but then Port quickly showed that maybe, just maybe, their hot start may not just be some silly fluke.
What a statement. A real flex from the Premiers. Their highest scoring quarter of the season, and it came up to being 3 goals to 1 down early.
So yeah, after Brisbane's late first quarter blitz, they took the foot off the pedal and let Port's score keep ticking over during the match. While there were periods during the second quarter where Port looked like storming back into the game, a big injury toll reduced Port's bench to one fit player during the match, and periods during the third and fourth quarters where the Lions reasserted their scoreboard dominance helped keep Port at bay. In the end, in front of 30,000 at the Gabba, the Lions got the job done, winning the game by 28 points. And even though Logan Morris got only one snag despite achieving our highest score of the season, Zach Bailey covered for him big time, kicking 5 goals and 28 disposals to be best on ground. While it wasn't too show-stopping in terms of smashing Port on the scoreboard like previous games, we did enough to maintain second on the ladder and keep our home prelim qualifier on the cards. To close things up, whilst being shaky in form between round 9 to 14, Brisbane has outdone my personal expectations for the season, and even though we've dropped some very winnable games so far, we've come back with a mighty roar when our backs were against the wall. They've been able to show massive resilience, withstanding injuries such as McCarthy's preseason ACL, Coleman's injury after the D's game, and most recently, not Jackson, Payne doing his ankle. Even with Danaher's retirement, our forward line has managed to keep on rolling thanks to players such as Zach and Logs, and unless they show me otherwise, I think that we'll be in the big dance with Collingwood in the last Saturday in September, which I swear to God, if we lose to Collingwood in another grand final, I'm gonna go to the back of my dad's shed, shove a shotgun right into my mouth, and pull the